September the 11th, 2001. Do you know where you were when you heard the news of those jets crashing into the World Trade Center? I happened to be in the parking lot of a medical facility in Normal, Illinois. I guess whenever there is a major tragedy, it catches people off guard, and we have the ability to remember where we were when we heard it. I guess it just makes an indelible impression upon our minds. Now, 6 weeks prior to this, our missions team that went out annually to New York City was there in the city ministering to people, and we had a wonderful time engaging people with the gospel as we do every year. And one evening, we were able to take a group of young people down to the World Trade Center, and we wanted to really urge them to go up to the top because it really was the best view of the city. Some of them didn't want to spend the money, some did, but those who did made it to the top, and I have a picture of my daughter and myself from many years ago, and it's a precious memory. Now it's 6 weeks later, I'm back in Normal, Illinois, and the question is, what are we to do? Of course, with that news, we were going to pray for the people of New York City. And there were all types of meetings going on in different churches praying for what was going on. But could we go possibly? Who would be willing to pack up in such a short period of time and go to New York and minister to people in a time when things were really shaky in this nation? Well, we had 125 people who stood up and said, we'll go. Now, Roy Mansfield, who was the pastor of the Manhattan Bible Church, said many people called, but you're the only ones that came. And so we boarded that plane and went out to the city. And I remember flying out of O'Hare and looking over and seeing those skyscrapers there. And it kind of just gave you kind of an eerie feeling, of course, of what those people may have felt when they were in the air and they realized the pathway was going toward this downtown part of New York. When we got there, it was a great time of ministry. It was a heavy time. I remember one evening going down to the rubble as we toured it, and the quietness and the solemnness of that occasion. We were fortunate to have a young man who was an artist who painted a banner called Heroes of Ground Zero, and that was presented at the various fire stations in honor of the people who died and of the people who risked their lives to save other people's lives. We were able to go around and do prayer stations, share the gospel. We were able to go into Grand Central Station and actually see the pictures of all the people that were missing, or going to the vigils there in Union Square Park. It was a solemn time, but 125 people, think about that, who were willing to take the risk because of the needs of a great city. And as I look back now over these last 24 years since that time, or maybe 23 years, I kind of reflect on, could we get 125 people to go now? Just recently, we're trying to go back for our 30th year, and we're working really, really hard to get 125 people to go this year. But we were able to recruit 125 people within 2 weeks in a time period where there was a lot of fear, probably a lot of anxiety. I wonder if something tragic like that happened again, could we recruit that many people in that short a time period? Maybe because of all the fear and anxiety, maybe it's caused by social media or just instantaneous news that you see all the time that evokes fear. Maybe that's kind of prevented us from taking risk and sharing this good news of Jesus with people. But we're commanded in the Bible to go to where the needs are and where the hurts were. And I can say I'm really, really proud of the 125 people who said, listen, I'll go. And they went. And it probably affected their lives, or will affect their lives until they die. It had such a great impression. 125 people. Could we get it today? In this atmosphere? In this nation? A good question to ponder.